Now, this is quite a story from NASA because for the second time in history, a man-made object has left our solar system. NASA is saying the Voyager 2 probe is now in a space between the stars after exiting the sun's protective bubble, which is called the heliosphere.
For nearly half a century, Voyager 2 has been drifting silently through the void, far beyond the comfort of planets, past the edge of our sun's influence, into the unknown. It was never supposed to last this long. Built with ancient technology, it should have gone quiet decades ago. And yet, it speaks quietly from the coldest, darkest corner of the solar system. But this time, what it said was different. A strange transmission, a pattern that doesn't belong, an echo from somewhere it should never have reached. What started as static quickly turned into a structure, mathematical, intentional, and deliberate. NASA wasn't prepared for it. The world certainly wasn't either. Because what Voyager the 2nd of May have just encountered is something science can't explain, and history never expected. And now the question isn't what Voyager found. It's who or what may have been waiting. Voyager 2 is the product of a miracle. Its very existence was only made possible thanks to a rare once-in-176-year alignment of the outer planets. A cosmic lineup that allowed NASA to sling the spacecraft from one gravitational field to the next like stones skipping across water. In the 1960s, a part-time engineer with a pencil and a dream mapped the orbits by hand, realizing that with the right timing, a probe could visit Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune in one journey. That calculation launched one of humanity's most ambitious missions into the stars. But here's what most people don't know. Voyager 2 was never designed to survive beyond those planets. It has less memory than a calculator, transmits with the strength of a refrigerator bulb, and runs on decaying plutonium. It wasn't supposed to last decades. And yet, here we are, more than 12 billion miles from Earth, in a place where temperature, radiation, and darkness threaten to swallow anything. Voyager 2 is still alive, still listening, still watching. And now it's seeing something no one ever thought possible. In 2018, Voyager 2 crossed the heliopause, the theoretical boundary where the solar wind ends and interstellar space begins. Scientists expected a dramatic shift in conditions. And in some ways, they were right. Plasma density spiked. Radiation increased. The spacecraft had officially left the sun's protective bubble. But then something didn't make sense. The magnetic field didn't change. Just like its twin, Voyager 1, Voyager 2 recorded no alteration in magnetic orientation, a result that defies every model we've built about the structure of our solar system's edge. If you're walking into a new room, you expect the walls to change. But Voyager walked through the door and everything stayed the same. What this means is simple and terrifying. Either our understanding of space is fundamentally broken, or Voyager is detecting something that mimics the magnetic conditions of our solar system, a field, a construct, or something else entirely. Whatever it is, it's not empty. And it's not natural. As Voyager 2 pushed farther into this magnetic twilight zone, its instruments recorded something even more unusual, a region of incredibly stable plasma surrounded by increasing cosmic radiation. But according to everything we know about space physics, those two things shouldn't coexist. Radiation of that magnitude should disrupt plasma. But here, the plasma held steady, as if shielded, protected. What's more, the frequencies recorded in this region began to repeat. Not random pulses, but patterns, tones that returned at regular intervals. Some have suggested it might be cosmic rays interacting with plasma clouds. But others, quieter, more cautious, are whispering something else. That Voyager may have passed near a structure, not made of matter, but of fields. Electromagnetic frameworks invisible to the eye, yet detectable to the Voyager's aging sensors. A lattice, a grid. Not natural. Not solar. Not known. And if such a structure exists, the question is no longer where it came from. It's why is it there? Then came the signal. A 2.4-second pulse buried deep within the low-band frequencies of Voyager 2's communications. It wasn't part of any known protocol. It didn't originate from the spacecraft systems. And it didn't match any stellar, solar, or galactic noise. It was singular, and worse, it was repeating. NASA called it an anomaly, a glitch. But inside sources suggest something far more complex. Engineers reviewing the pattern noticed that the signal wasn't just mathematical. It was responsive. A repeating wave that shifted slightly after every attempt to probe it. Like a reflection that subtly changes depending on who's watching. They stopped calling it noise. They started calling it behavior. And now that tiny probe drifting in the cold may have made contact. Not with a ship. Not with an intelligence as we know it. But with something even harder to understand, a system. Something so vast, so old, so far beyond our design that Voyager the 2nd of May have simply triggered it, awakened it, or proven for the first time in human history that we're no longer just observing the universe. We're part of it. For decades, we thought the heliosphere was our shield. A magnetic cocoon shaped by the sun, wrapping our solar system in a protective bubble that faded gently into the galactic sea. We imagined it like a teardrop pushed back by cosmic winds, its tail trailing behind us like a comet's ghost. But Voyager 2 is proving that image wrong. The boundary it crossed wasn't smooth. It wasn't even fixed. Instead, it was fragmented, dynamic, something that shimmered, shifted, pushed back. The data shows sudden pockets of pressure, plasma bursts, and magnetic distortions that don't match solar behavior. What this suggests is staggering. The heliosphere may not be shaped by the sun at all. It may be pressurized from the outside, from interstellar forces we haven't mapped, from fields or flows that we don't yet have a name for. Voyager isn't just showing us the limits of our solar system. It's revealing that those limits were never truly ours to begin with. And that the space just beyond is not empty. It's reactive. The heliosphere may not be a bubble. It may be a boundary. As more analysts review Voyager 2's data, a quiet idea has begun to take shape. It's not yet in papers, not yet in journals, but it's circulating. Because the pattern in the signal, the responsiveness in the data, and the structure of the impossible plasma field all point toward a chilling hypothesis. That Voyager didn't just detect a strange region of space. It brushed against an intentional system. Not alive, not speaking, not even sentient in the way we understand, but designed. A form of intelligence that doesn't build with atoms or wires, but with frequency, with field. Something that doesn't speak in languages, but in repetition, symmetry, and modulation. An intelligence embedded in physics itself. If this is true, then we may be seeing the fingerprints of a civilization not just older than ours, but so advanced that it doesn't build things, it builds rules. It shapes environments, orchestrates space like a symphony, and uses time not as a limit, but as a material. Voyager may have stumbled into a message written not in words, but in reality. Some theorists have begun referring to Voyager's latest path not as a route but as a threshold, a narrow window into something larger. The anomalies it detected, from magnetic loops to radiation pulses, seem to cluster around a specific region, as if marking the edges of something hidden. Not a planet, not a star, but a void. A structure of absence, like an eye socket without an eye. A silence sculpted with purpose. What if Voyager 2 didn't just cross into interstellar space, but into a system of monitoring? A layer of detection that has been there for eons, waiting, not for invasion, not for destruction, but for recognition. Like a net strung across the galaxy, not to catch, but to sense, to watch, and to record. The golden record Voyager carries may not have gone unnoticed. It may have activated something, a curiosity, a ripple, a response. And the signal we received may be that system's way of saying, "We see you." Not aggressively, not fearfully, but deliberately. And the next move might not be ours. Since the 2.4-second transmission, Voyager 2 has continued sending data, normal data, steady, consistent, mechanical. The instruments haven't failed. The trajectory hasn't changed. But something is different, subtly, quietly. The frequency is too perfect. The readings too stable. It's as if the spacecraft is now being observed, or buffered, or echoed. Some engineers describe it as a feeling, like the difference between speaking into a room and speaking into a room where someone is standing just behind you. Not talking, not moving, but listening. Very, very closely. NASA has issued no further updates on the signal. The public data logs skip that window. But internal chatter suggests that no one's comfortable, because that signal wasn't a glitch. It wasn't random. And now it's gone. But it left something behind. A question. A disturbance. A presence. And maybe, in that brief moment, Voyager 2 didn't just receive a signal. It left one. For decades, we believed Voyager 2 was alone. A fragile machine sailing into the dark. A relic of human ambitions slowly fading into silence. We imagined it as a ghost drifting without purpose, carrying our music, our greetings, our coordinates, our hope. But maybe it wasn't alone after all. Maybe the silence wasn't empty. Maybe the space beyond our system wasn't void, but listening. What Voyager 2 just encountered challenges not only the limits of physics, but the limits of imagination. A signal that responded. A system that echoed. A structure that should not exist. Not made of matter, but of meaning. Something that doesn't need words to be understood, because it was never meant to speak. It was meant to notice. And now it has. The most haunting part isn't that we received a message. It's that the moment we were ready to decode it, the signal stopped. As if it had seen enough. As if the contact wasn't about what it could tell us, but about what we had just proven, that we're capable of listening. So now the question is no longer whether we're alone. It's whether something has been waiting for us to ask. And that changes everything. Now I want to hear from you. Do you believe Voyager 2 found something watching us? Was this contact a warning, or just the beginning of something we're not ready to face? Leave your theory in the comments. I read them all. And if this story stirred something in you, if it made you feel the weight of the stars just a little more, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and join this journey.